Welcome to Digital Marketing ROI, the podcast that connects marketing to your business's revenue and covers everything you need to know to stay up to date in this crazy digital marketing world.
Welcome to Digital Marketing ROI. I'm your host, Shannon Allen, and I'm joined again by Krystal Vivian. How are you?
I'm doing great, Shannon. How are you?
I'm good. Can you believe it's June?
I'm so excited that it's June. That's why I'm doing great, because I am a summer girl, Shannon. I love fall, and
I think Maya is a summer girl because she loves her swimming.
Maya is a summer girl. Yeah. Now, she also says that she loves winter, and there were many times that I had to pull her off a snowbank this past winter because she said, snow is my life.
Yes.
And I said, no, it's not, because it's not mine.
So funny. I love that.
But no, I am a summer girl. I am thrilled about all of the sunshine. I'm thrilled to be wearing shorts and sandals, and I thrive. The vitamin D,
yes.
We're all vitamin D deficient here in the Midwest. Let's not lie.
That's true.
And I take a supplement because I've got to, but there's nothing better than that. Just straight to the face sunshine.
And there's something about June. It's this mid-year feel. Hard to believe we're coming up on half the year, 6 months in at the end of June. But it's been a wild few months.
It has been a very wild few months. 2026 has been crazy.
It has. And from a business standpoint, just sales, like we're still living in the world. Clients still need their businesses to run, but there's a little bit of chaos, right? Between inflation on the rise, the Iran war, the gas prices. Good news, Fed rates are holding steady right now, but we would love to see them go down. And small business community that somehow is still trying to be optimistic. That's what I can report is when we talk to our clients that are small business owners, they're still staying positive. And I think that we're not feeling doom and gloom, but we're feeling a little, I guess chaos is the word I like to use.
Yeah, a little uncertainty because of the chaos.
Yeah. And so I have seen a little bit of people in first and second that were like, let me see how first quarter pans out. And then as we're coming to the end of second quarter, a little bit of, okay, it's time. I think sunshine always helps that, especially living here in the Midwest. But I really think that by doing this mid-year check, I just wanted to have a conversation what's actually been happening when it relates to the economy and then some key industries really since January. And then let's just walk through what we think is going to happen in the next 6 months when it comes to what the world and how that relates to marketing.
Yeah,
right?
I love that. So let's start then with that beginning of the first half of 2026 so far, or the first few months, because we're not quite at the halfway point yet. What has been going on with the economy and for businesses?
So at the end of the year in 2025, most predictions were coming in that 2026 was expecting solid growth, right? Goldman Sachs was forecasting 2 to 2.5% GDP growth with mild rate cuts ahead. Mood was cautiously optimistic, as I would say. And then what happened?
We went to war.
There's
not much to say about that.
There's not I can say.
Yeah.
Oil jumped more than 76% between late February and early April. That was really the kickoff of it. I think it was really end of April when we went, all of a sudden we woke up and gas price was at $4.29 leading up to, I remember a $4.99. And I've been traveling for work in my car and I'm like, this is getting expensive, right? Mm-hmm. And inflation responded to that. So the April CPI report came out and headline inflation jumped to 3.8% year over year. That's the highest reading since May of 2023. And then gas prices alone were up 28% over last year during that going into starting off second quarter. So that really set a pace, right? So 28% in gas prices. All of a sudden, everybody's, wait a second. Am I going here? Am I traveling? Am I doing this? And you think of all the things that it affects when it comes to businesses.
Absolutely, because it's your day-to-day. Your driving habits day-to-day don't really change. For most people, I think you're pretty much locked into your day-to-day driving. Maybe your week-to-week driving, depending on your schedule. But it's that extra driving. And then because your expense of gas has now gone up, and for some people, like for me during that, it went from $40 to fill up my gas tank to $60 to fill up my gas tank. And when budgets are tight, and it does make an impact, and people are going to make different buying decisions.
It does. Gas is, to me, I feel like gas prices almost is a different, because it affects everybody. When we talk about the Fed holding the rate for 3 meetings in a row, that doesn't affect everybody as much. It obviously affects the real estate industry, but a lot of things people aren't paying as much attention to. Bank of America back in, I think, early May, pushed their rate cut forecast all the way out to July of 2027 because they don't think it's happening. And so that cheap money many businesses were really banking on is not probably coming this year. And gas prices is that trigger, unfortunately. So we are seeing that. So that's when I look at the economy at a large. When we look at small business, like kind of the reality of it, the U.S. Chamber Small Business Index dropped from 68.4 in Q4 of 2025 to 67.0 in Q1. Not a crash, it just softened it, right? So this is where I talk about the chaos a little bit. 3% of small business owners now say inflation is their biggest challenge. They're trying to keep up with it. I asked a friend of mine, her husband runs a lawn service. It was like, he filled up all of his mowers and everything, and it was like $195. And I'm like, did he send a letter out to all of his clients to say, we're going to have a rate increase because of this? She's like, no, he's trying to hold steady. That's really hard. So now you're working as hard as you worked last year,
but making less. I understand that business owner, because if you pass it on to your consumers, to your clients, you could lose some people that way, right? But then it's eating into your profits. And for a really small business, that's your family's money. That's your income. So it's a very fine line to walk for small business owners.
And we start talking about families. You talk about high, upper class, middle class, lower class of what spending is. So consumer spending is splitting in half basically right now. So according to Cox Automotive, they said that disposable income growth in 2026 is concentrated in the top 40% of households. So that's 60% of households that is not still spending at the same level that 40% of them are, right? So higher income households are still spending. So that is a story to tell. But lower and middle class income are pulling back a little bit. So that income split is going to shape every industry throughout the year. So whether you're in the automotive business, that's either going to push somebody off or that's going to move them from a car. Now they're payment driven, which I think everybody is anymore. I'm trying to help my mom sell her 2014 Suburban that's in fantastic condition. Only has 125,000 miles on it. But I said, we're going to struggle because it's a big tank of gas to fill right now.
Absolutely.
So the person that can afford $15,000 for that, which is a great price point, can't afford the gas to put in it.
Correct.
And that's a problem.
We were in the car market and then we decided to stop looking for a new car because it's like, we're good with what we have. Our mileage per gallon is great. And let's just get another couple months or couple years out of this vehicle and then when gas prices are better, then we'll reconsider.
And I always say for the first half of the year, what the story is telling us is there's still people out there spending. And even if you're in that lower class or middle class of income, then it's based on what you need, not any luxury items, not any wants. Maybe travel isn't done the same. Maybe you're going to travel locally versus getting on a plane. Right. So that's really what I would say is what's been happening in the first 6 months.
Let's bring it a little bit closer to marketing and advertising. And let's talk about some of the industries that we work with the most. What's going on with credit unions and car dealers?
This is for everybody out there. I think you can correlate some of it. But again, for auto dealers, Cox Automotive, which I pull a lot of my research from, is still forecasting that 15.8 million new vehicle sales for 2026. Now, that is down 2.4% from 2025. So it's not crashing again. This is the softening, the slowing that we're seeing. 90% of auto marketers say CTV and streaming is still a leading consumer trend that they're responding to. Now, this is where the catch-22 comes in. It's more expensive. So when that car dealer goes out there and says, I'm going to cut CTV because it's the most expensive, it's still what's resonating with an audience. Generative AI is a conversation we have to be addressing in the second half of the year for sure in every industry, not just automotive or credit unions or whatever, is how does this all relate to everything we're doing when it comes to marketing? So retail itself, we're seeing 71% of in-market shoppers now expect very transparent pricing. So when we talk about things like gas prices and we're trying to save, we want to feel that empathy from the big buys out there, right? The big buys, the loans we're getting, we want them to have empathy for what the average person is going through. So I think when it comes to auto specifically, you really got to dial in on what you're doing, but you cannot pull back because the biggest mistake any business can do is just stop running marketing.
Yeah, because then you're not branding, you're not top of mind. There are still people buying vehicles. There are still people out there. It's that softening. It's a 2 to 3% decrease, but it's not a whole crash.
And right now, flipping over to credit unions, they are still predicting growth because what does a credit union offer? They're still doing loans. People still have to buy houses. People still have to get mortgages. They still have to buy auto loans. They need HELOC. They need personal loans. They might be doing a HELOC instead of buying a new house. So they are predicting that there will be a loan growth of 5.5% for credit unions and financial services in 2026. So that's good news, right? Mortgage and personal loan are really that primary growth driver. So let's think about that. Mortgages could be part of HELOC. So that's what we talked about. And then personal loans. Sometimes people are like, wait a second, I can't be paying 28% for my credit card, but I might need to do a loan consolidation.
So I can get down to a 14% or a 12%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're seeing some of that. Honestly, when it comes to all of this, I think this softening is what we have to keep leaning into. Is some things are going to see growth, some things are going to see a little bit of a dip, but overall, we want to hope for the best. And I think midterms is going to play a big role in everything we do. So midterms with any industry, whether we're talking credit unions or auto loans, just any retail, as it is, we know spend might slow down, but this happens whether we're dealing with a high economy or not in any election year. Now, midterms tend to not be as affected by the presidential election, but there is a lot of unrest, especially with the war going on.
Yes. There's a lot of, it goes back to that chaos and that uncertainty that people need to prepare for. What have we been seeing in marketing and advertising in the first half of 2026?
Again, all of those verticals, you're seeing a little bit of downside in auto. Credit unions are seeing a growth. Our credit unions alone, we are seeing them lean into it. I think they realize they have to. There's a whole new audience they have to go after, so they're leaning into it. Local digital ad spend with retail and small businesses is forecasted to grow 12% in 2026, which is driven by small business. So that means local advertisers' competition is spending more digitally, not less, that's good news for us, right? Mm-hmm. The IAB, the Internet Advertising Bureau, is forecasting 9.5% growth in total U.S. ad spend for 2026, which is well above the GDP. So social media is up 14.6, CTV is up. And so on the digital side, we are seeing growth. I think what you're going to see is your traditional, we're going to see hits on the radio side. You're going to see hits on linear. Going to see hits on cable, right? Billboards, I never pull that into the equation, but definitely billboards are still strong out there.
Yeah.
But I don't
Smaller
necessarily know
campaigns.
if people are increasing marketing budget. I think it's more of a shuffling game. So as a digital agency, it's beneficial to know that can be there for us. But there's also more digital agencies out there saying they know what they're doing more than ever. So that's part of what we deal with a lot really in the first 6 months is we've seen our competition grow. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are doing it badly. So that's something that we look at in the first part of the year. We've really had to take a look at what do we do best? What is it for us that how do we stand apart from the average person that's, oh, wait, I do this now too. I sell movie theater advertising, but I can sell you CTV.
Yeah. It gives us a extra layer of empathy because this is something that we know that our clients go through, right? Yes. Our businesses go through this that we work with. And now we're coming up against the same thing. And in a lot of ways, that's comforting because we know strategies to overcome it and we know how we need to handle it. But it is still just, it's a different playing field.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's look ahead at the rest of June through December, through the end of the year. What should business owners expect? Because we've got World Cup soccer. Yep. We have, like you said, the midterm elections and all the uncertainty that happens with that. We have the holiday season on deck.
Oh, God, that's so hard to believe. I know you love fall, but let's not talk about that.
I am not trying to think about the holidays or fall.
Good.
I am a summer girl, Shannon. I am trying to soak up every bit of summer as I can. But from a marketing perspective, we do, as much as in the moment we stay in that.
Yeah.
From a marketing perspective, we have to plan 3 months out. So what do business owners need to be thinking about as they're enjoying the days at the beach or in the pool in the backyard or running through the sprinklers? What do they need to be thinking about for the rest of the year?
You talked about 3 things, World Cup, midterm, holiday season, all great things to talk about. I think as we talk about this, we're cautiously optimistic. I think we can be looking at it's time to layer in. If you pulled back in first quarter, second and third is where you need to really ramp it up because you want to be ready that you're not all of a sudden fourth quarter is here and you're like, where'd my year go? So you need to be very conscious of that. So doing your basics, living in the world of making sure your consumers can find you through SEM, making sure that you're top of mind through branding, through CTV and display, and making sure that your social is on point because we're seeing growth in all aspects of those digital arenas. One of the reasons I layered in live sports in 2026 was it's an audience that it gives us something to be excited about. With Olympics this year and fall college ball to look forward to. We've got the World Cup coming up, like you said, that runs through summer. Really looking at not just doing your basic of everything we talked about, but where do you add a layer? So if you pulled back in that first quarter, even maybe second quarter, it's time in third and fourth to ramp up, because otherwise your year's going to be, you're going to be in the hole.
Yeah.
That's my general thing. When I think about midterms, political advertising on a whole is going to be projected to exceed that $10 million mark. Most of that lands in Q3 and Q4, and most of it lands on TV and CTV and digital. But if you're still in this age running TV in a midterm year, pull your money. You're going to get bumped. It's going to be a war of TV because there's still a huge older audience that's still on linear. But that's not where you need to be as a business owner. Pull your money out of TV when it comes to third and fourth quarter this year. I usually say that, but I'm saying that.
We know that the political, because it's midterms, it's a contentious midterms. We know that there's going to be more money poured into that. I look at the state races in Indiana. We just had our primary in early May, and how much money was funneled into the primaries. Yeah. So we're going to see a lot of that happening in the actual midterm elections in September, October, November. So you're going to get bumped, and you don't know what your make goods are going to be. So you might as well take that money and put it someplace where you know you're guaranteed delivery.
And even for CTV, we're not going to run out of inventory on CTV because it's programmatic. But live sports, we will. So we sell by fear of loss all the time, not because I'm trying to scare you, but if you aren't buying your fall football games right now and bowl games, you're not going to get them.
No.
So lock it in. And same with CTV, though. Have your game plan. Have your strategy in place. Look at the data. Look at what was going on last year. Look at what happened in the first 6 months and lock in your strategy and pivot when you need to. Review it every 30 days with your rep. That's what we do. Every 30 days, we're looking at it. We're not just living in the what happened. We're looking at what's to come and lay out 90 days at a time, but lay out the next 6 months. Omnicom estimates that these 3 events alone, holiday shopping season, we even totally talked about, the consumer is more cautious than they were in 2024 and even 2025, but high income consumer is still spending, and that's who's spending the most money anyways. But when you look at those 3 events combined, it's going to drive $9 billion in incremental ad spend alone in 2026. Right? So that money has to go somewhere. We're going to see a lot of that in CTV. Search is going to still be high. Obviously, social media, the push is going to be out there. So plan your strategy ahead of time. And honestly, watch the energy story too. If the Iran war fallout keeps pushing fuel and shipping costs, expect inflation to stay sticky into Q4. That keeps the Fed on hold, keeps borrowing costs high, and keeps the consumer cautious. So we got to pay attention with it. A lot of that's going to depend on what we continue to see in this chaos.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And again, AI search is going to keep accelerating. This isn't slowing down, people. The 25% organic drop that we saw at the end of 2025 could very well double of where things are going. We've pivoted in a good way using our AI answer blogs and just getting our clients to doing SEM the smart way. If they can do Google Shopping, if they're retail, do VLAs, if they're auto.
If they can do location, getting their business listings and
directories,
review
all these little
generation.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. That matters a whole lot to AI. Yeah.
So that's what I am seeing for the next 6 months. If I just say anything, is don't wait to be reactive, be proactive right now and have your 6 month strategy in place. You can always pivot, but have a plan and don't cut your budget.
And if you aren't sure what to do, lean on your marketing partner.
Exactly.
That brings us very naturally to the last question that we always talk about, which is ROI. So with everything that's going on in 2026 and as we're looking forward to the end of the year, how should business owners be thinking about ROI for the rest of 2026?
In an uncertain economy, ROI is the only conversation that matters, right? It's why everything we're doing now is leaning towards that. So when budgets feel tight, I know business owners want to cut. I have to remind you, I go back to the big rock theory, right? Big rock is you can't focus all your time on the rocks, the little rocks and stones and the pebbles. What are your big rocks? And really to any business, it's not any different than what our big rocks are, right? New business and existing business. Those are the 2 main rocks that every business out there, for the most part, is trying to retain who they have and find new ones out there. And at a time like this, when there is uncertainty, I feel that retention is probably the most underused lever of ROI, because your existing business is your bread and butter. And there are always what I call seasons. We're in a season right now of growing our new business. The clients that we have, we feel good about, but you always have that attrition going on, right? And so when I look at our radio division, I look at their loyal people is the lever we need to be moving with radio, because if you believe in radio, there's a loyalty, there's a feel there, and you're getting results. So lean into them and show them other things that you could be doing. It's same with any business out there. Don't forget about your loyal people, because that returning business is what's going to get you through some of the hard times. And when we look at the next 6 months, we really need to strategize under those two big rocks. How do we grow new business? How do we retain and keep our existing? That's, to me, the biggest ROI conversation. I could go into lots of different numbers, but that's as simple as I can make it, how we get through 2026. It's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I think that's a strong outlook to have. And I appreciate, in the midst of chaos, having a positive outlook and knowing that you can just create a plan. You can lean on your partners. Yep. You can look at your business. You can make strategic decisions, and you can set your business up for success no matter what kind of chaos is going on in the world, because there's always going to be chaos in the world.
This was good. I think it's always good to bring it back to seasonality, where we're at, what's coming, and just have honest, hard conversations. Like, we know it's tough out there. And if you work with the right partner, they're in it with you. Mm-hmm. They're feeling it. They're dealing with it. And be vulnerable with them and tell them what's going on. But just don't react.
Yes.
Don't just react to what's going on. Be strategic about and be proactive.
Yep.
So that's it for today. Thanks, Krystal.
Thanks, Shannon.
And thank you to our listeners, and tune in to our next episode of Digital Marketing ROI.
You've been listening to Digital Marketing ROI from Federated Digital Solutions. Do you have an idea for a future episode or a burning digital marketing question? Text ROI to 45364 to get a link where you can share your idea. Subscribe to get new episodes every other Thursday, plus Tip Tuesday insights every week.
Podcasts by Federated Media.